things over to MSL lead reporter Charlie Lopella.
Good to see you guys again. So my first question is for you, Coach. I talked to you some about the quarterback situation. Obviously, Noah's going to be running some wildcat for you guys, but are we going to see more Anthony? Are we going to see more Bo? Or are you still just planning on you've got some time to figure it out? What's the situation looking like?
So Anthony and Bo, they've been fighting. I mean, two younger guys. We had Logan the last 3 years that have ran the offense for us. But I think we're going to go with Bo Dorsey to start out. Anthony's a freshman, and he's going to keep working hard and getting better, practices, things like that. We're going to focus with Anthony on defense because we know as freshmen, the more responsibilities you give to him, the more loss they get at times. But so we're going to go with Bo Dorsey and see how it go from there.
Yeah, is it just great to have a guy in the system then that's going to get to learn the offense and already has that talent?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the things, if you switch the quarterbacks too much, especially being young, then you're taking reps away from certain kids. So with Bo at quarterback, now, he's getting all the reps during practices, things like that for the most part. So just getting him comfortable. It's a big difference going from, not having the ball in your hand on offense every play to now you're touching the ball every single play on offense. So just getting him comfortable, getting used to, taking hits. That's why the scrimmages were good. He got tackled a few times and just getting used to hit from, 18-year-old men, just getting that tackle, getting used to football, Friday night football, because for us, unfortunately, we don't have a JV freshman team. So, you go from no experience to now you're the guy.
Carl Blaylock Media. How do you guys build off of what was the best season in Miller football history?
Just doing the little things right. These three next to me, they're all seniors, and we lost a lot from last year, but we're going to rely on these three right here. And there's other guys on the team, like we talked about, Noah Lamaster. So a lot of guys that we necessarily didn't need to do, provide offense and things like that for us. Moving forward, they're going to have to and fill those roles that the seniors. We lost 7 seniors from last year, and for a Miller team, that's a lot of kids. But they've done a great job. Our scrimmages went well. I was pleased with how that went. We got better from Notre Dame to South Gallia. We definitely showed improvements, and that's what we're looking for. Going into week 1 against Alexander is just continue to get better. And there's going to be bumps in the road, and just how do we adjust? How do we get better as a team? And these guys, they show up every day. They don't say much, and they want to play football and they want to win games.
For the players, how do you guys manage? Miller's got expectations for the first time in a long time. How do you guys manage that as players?
I come to practice to work every day. I go with an intent to get better every single day. I try not to put myself into a situation where I'm not working hard enough. I need to be working harder. So I go to practice every day with the intent to work harder than everybody else is working.
Coach, obviously a lot of success last year, and some of the success I would say is owed to Xander.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's it like, having a running back that I can only really describe as a human bowling ball?
And that we were just talking a whole bunch about Bo, and now talk about Xander. It's nice when you look, to your left, right, or even behind you in the pistol, and you see that number 34, Xander Bice, is there. So that is a comforting thing. And I'll be honest, it was no secret last year that we plan on running the football. And again, this year it's going to be the same. Last year we averaged, I think, 8.6 passes per game. So, we're going to throw the ball. That's just any team that's competitive that wins games, you have to be able to throw the ball. But when it comes down to it, 34 is going to be seeing he's going to be touching the ball a whole bunch, and his tongue's probably going to be hanging out of his mouth by the end of the game, which I've told him over and over. And he does it. He'll do extra conditioning after, once we're done with practice, he'll run and do extra conditioning because he knows that the ball's going to be in his hand. I trust that kid. He's been a running back now for 4 years. It's no secret that 34 is going to run the ball and have a very successful season.
And likewise for you, Xander, and you other guys as well. Your coach is the defending coach of the year here at Gridiron Glory. What's it like learning from a guy like this, and how much of his words have changed the way you not only play football but see the world outside of it?
It's actually crazy because in high school, when Coach Scott was in high school, he played the exact positions I played. He's like, yeah, I was built the exact same way you were built. So it's like he's been in my shoes, so I know exactly what he's talking about. When he's telling me stuff, I know he's been there. So I can trust him just on the same level as he can trust me. So.
You guys went undefeated last year at home. So So my question is like, what about that home crowd for you guys really puts you guys over the edge and gives you that advantage?
I'd say like, we've had some down years in Miller history, and you go to the games when I was younger, and the crowds weren't real big, but here recently, we're making a name for ourselves, and we show up on Friday nights, them stands are filled, and the crowd's roaring. It just gives you that excitement, that extra motivation to give everything you really got, and usually we have good outcomes when that happens.
Yeah, I got another question for you, Nick. From what I've talked to Coach before, you weren't always a football guy. It wasn't always something that wasn't always the sport that you were looking towards. What did he tell you that really sold you on this, and what keeps you coming back now that in your senior year of high school for football?
Yeah, so when I was a kid, just football was never really appealing to me, but you go through school, and I had him in gym class, and he was just an awesome dude, and he would ask me every day, he's like, you ever think about playing football? You'd really help us, and I got tired of hearing it eventually, and I went out there and I gave it a shot, and dude, I fell in love with it. Coach Scott and the coaches around, they're amazing. They welcome you. They make sure they take time to make sure that you know what you're doing and you're learning, and so I just fell in love with it since then, and these past 4 years, that's all I've been thinking about is football. So I wish I would have started younger, but everything I've got now is to our Coach Scott and our other coaches.
Yeah. Okay, just to shift over to you, Bryce. You've got Bo's your brother on the team. He's your younger brother. What's that experience been like playing with him? Has that been, now that he's going to be under center, how are you looking to help him out on the team? And just what's that experience been like playing beside him?
I think it's a lot different now having your brother at quarterback, especially having to block for him. Knowing that, if somebody gets by, you miss a block, it's your little brother getting hurt. My teammates are like brothers, but still, like, that's my blood related. So, yeah, it's definitely a lot different.
Has he ever gotten on your nerves when you're blocking? Has he ever yelled at you?
Yes, yes. On my nerves all the time, on the field or at home. Always.
Coach, we talked earlier to Coach Pardon Dudash from Crooksville.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing he told us was that, Coach Stepp from Westfall, and he told us that, both of them are very honing in on building a program, but one thing Coach Stepp told us was that, you need 5 years to build a program. And here you are going into year 5, and you're coming off the best season in school history. How have you taken a team that had 2 wins the year before you got there and turned it into what we see today, and how do you keep it rolling as the years go on?
Truthfully, I preach this to the boys, is just showing up every day. A lot of our kids, they necessarily don't play in middle school. They're not big football fans. And then they get to high school and they want to give it a try. And I do. I work at the school, so I talk to these kids. I see them in the hallway. I'll watch a kid walk down the hallway. I'm like, man, why is that kid not playing football? So just getting these kids to trust me and just, hey, it's football. It's fun. There's nothing like a Friday night walking out under the lights, a crowd screaming and yelling and winning football games. So when I took over, my biggest push was just to get the numbers. If we could have enough kids for practice, have 11 scout team players, run our offense or defense with 11 guys, and not do half line stuff, or to me that makes a difference in teams, and that builds a program, because not only are your varsity players, your starters getting reps, but now these guys that are freshmen, sophomores, even juniors that might not be ready to play yet, they're getting reps. And you always hear practice, but it's true. That's where these guys are learning. That's where confidence is built in practice. And that's what these kids need. A lot of these ones that are not used to always playing or being in the spotlight is practice, because they know what they're doing. They know who to block. If you go out on a Friday night and you're not sure who to block or what the play is, then you're not going to have success. So for us, that's been our push, and we've done a great job. Numbers have gone up every year. When I first took over, we were around, I think, 18, 19 kids. And my goal has always been 30. We've been close, and that will continue to be my goal, is 30, because I would like to have JV games with 30 kids. And that's kind of where we're working towards. We're close to it, but we're not there yet.
We got enough time for one quick.
Okay, I've got a question for you, Xander. I've talked to some coaches around here, including Coach Simba, and he just told me, he said what a great kid you are, and what a great player you are, and I just find that funny, because you go out so much physical punishment on the other team. So why do you make such a great impression on people, and why do you think you're still hearing that despite inflicting so much damage on the other team?
So I know like my family is great friends with like the superintendent and our principal and stuff, and they have high expectations for not only my like physical attributes on the field, but my sportsmanship as well. So I always try to inflict as much physical pain as possible, and then I'm the guy to reach down and help you up after I knock you over. So, and then I'm pretty usually a nice guy anywhere else. So, but yeah, I think I have very high expectations for not only my football, but for my personality as well.
That's gonna be